Sugar, poison. Fast food, poison. Energy drinks, poison. Rent, also poison. I'm half joking on that one. The honest version is that modern life is stacked with things that feel completely normal, but are quietly wrecking you one small dose at a time. So here's the experiment. For the next 7 days, I'm cutting every single one of them out at once and living like it's before any of this stuff existed. Before feeds, before flavor labs, before convenience became the whole business model, and just to see what actually happens to my body, my brain, and honestly, my mood. Before I touched anything, I went and got a brain scan, mostly to have proof of how bad the damage already was. It wasn't subtle. Red means overactivation, and my scan looked like a heat map of a city on fire. The specialist put it simply, this is what a brain looks like when it never actually rests. Always geared up, attention network worn down from constant pinging. Cool, cool, very normal, very fine. I also logged my starting weight at 191.4 pounds, took the obligatory shirtless before photo nobody asked for, and set up tracking for sleep and skin, since those felt like the two things that would show the truth fastest. Here's the list of 10 things getting the boot for a week. Added sugar, seed oils, alcohol, caffeine, ultra-processed snacks, artificial sweeteners, social media, TV and streaming, my phone after 8 p.m., and anything wrapped in single-use plastic if I can help it. Yes, I know some of these are debated. I don't care, they're on the list. We're doing this. First to go, the entire supplement shelf. Then the pantry snacks I've been quietly addicted to for years. Then the espresso machine. I actually unplugged it and put it in a closet because I couldn't trust myself around a blinking, ready light. Hardest part of the whole prep was deleting the apps. I had a running streak on one platform sitting at just under 4 years gone in one tap. My phone afterward felt unnervingly light, like it had been hollowed out. Day one starts with a grocery run, and I decide to make it interesting by going to the fanciest healthy store in town. Within 10 minutes, I realize the entire building is basically a plastic archive with a wellness logo slapped on the door. More than half the produce is shrink-wrapped for no functional reason. I ask the butcher genuinely if he can hand me a steak with zero plastic touching it, and the look on his face suggests I'm the third weird guy to ask this week. I leave with a cart that's aggressively beige. Eggs, a chunk of unwrapped cheese, an apple the size of a small planet, and a piece of meat wrapped in paper like it's 1962. Breakfast is nothing like my usual. Normally it's a protein bar and whatever caffeinated thing is closest. Today it's 4 whole eggs, a full-fat yogurt with a cream layer on top, I don't fully understand, and that enormous apple which I wash like it personally wronged me. It's genuinely delicious, which annoys me a little. By mid-morning, I notice my hands keep drifting toward my pocket for a phone that isn't giving me anything back. It's less a want and more a twitch. I catch myself trying to check a post from a milestone I hit last week and just can't. It's oddly disorienting, like showing up to a party you weren't invited to anymore. That night, instead of my usual 4 hours of background television, I go to an actual bookstore, which feels almost comically foreign. I ask a stranger working there for a recommendation since I haven't finished a book since high school, and she hands me a slow-burn psychological thriller about a woman who stops speaking entirely after a violent incident. Thematically a little too on the nose for where my brain currently is, but I take it anyway. Dinner is a thick ribeye that I let rest for 10 full minutes because apparently that matters, and I eat it slowly, mostly because there's nothing else competing for my attention. Day 2 opens with a headache that feels like my skull is being lightly juiced, courtesy of caffeine and sweetener withdrawal doing exactly what they're supposed to do. But my sleep tracker tells a different story. 2 nights ago, I was sitting at a 79, then an 81, and this morning it jumped to 88. Genuinely the best score I've logged in months. My readiness number does something even more dramatic, climbing from the high 60s to the low 80s in a single night. Something is clearly recalibrating fast. On the plus side, no social media also means no accidentally comparing my body to strangers online before 9 a.m., which I hadn't realized was a daily event until it stopped happening. My workout that afternoon flies by because I'm not checking a screen between every set. I finish in almost half my normal time, and somehow the workout is better. I make what I'm now calling my poison-free lunch and take a picture I'm way too proud of. Mango, cucumber, a hard-boiled egg, grilled chicken, avocado, arranged like I'm auditioning for a lifestyle magazine. Eating it outside, phone left inside on purpose, I notice I'm actually tasting the food instead of just refueling in front of a screen. Later that afternoon, I get genuinely bored in a way I haven't felt in years. The itch to refresh something with no app left to refresh sends me on a walk instead. My evening ends with a very intense game of fetch with my dog, a few chapters of the book, and a mediocre round of chess against my partner that I definitely should have won. By day 3, my skin has visibly changed. Less puffy, a little more even, and I haven't touched my skincare routine at all, which tells me the glow up was never a product problem in the first place. I try to make an omelet with a wooden spatula instead of my usual nonstick setup, and it's an unqualified disaster. Eggs cling to wood like it's personal. While sulking about my ruined breakfast, I discover there's a pickleball court 6 minutes from my house that I've apparently walked past for 2 years without noticing, because my head was always down at a screen. I play for an hour, tan slightly for the first time all year, and have a small picnic afterward that a passerby looks at like I'm a lost extra from a period drama. The realization that actually sticks with me. I used to think scrolling was spending time. It wasn't spending, it was being taken. My days this week feel almost twice as long, in the good way. Reading is where the surprise really lands. By day 3, I'm finishing chapters without my mind sliding off to check something else, and reading right before bed now knocks me out almost instantly. Day 4. I step on the scale at 189.6, down nearly 2 pounds, which I did not expect given how much food I'm actually eating. My lifts somehow haven't suffered at all. If anything, they feel steadier. The real shocker, the tendinitis I've had in both elbows for over a year has almost completely disappeared. I make a smoothie and, out of curiosity, read the ingredient label on the store-bought oat milk I usually use. It's maybe 4% oats and the rest is a small chemistry set I can't pronounce. So I make my own almond milk from scratch overnight instead, which takes far more effort than it has any right to. Tastes basically identical, and yet I feel smug about it anyway. Sleep scores keep climbing. 91, then 93, then a 90, that I'm almost disappointed by at this point. Day 5 starts at a farmer's market, buying eggs and produce with genuinely zero plastic in sight, which after 4 days feels like visiting a museum exhibit called How Food Used to Work. I'm 5 days off social media now, and instead of missing it, I mostly just wonder why it had such a grip on me in the first place. Driving past a drive-thru I used to love, I feel something closer to mild disgust than nostalgia. My whole relationship to convenience food has quietly rearranged itself. Day 6 might be the best day of the whole week. Great sleep, real quality time with my partner and dog, and somehow my most productive workday in months, all without touching my phone for hours at a stretch. I make burgers with farm eggs and oven fries, and everything just tastes sharper than it used to. The biggest surprise of the entire challenge shows up here. My constant background hum of food thoughts, what I've always half-jokingly called food noise, has almost completely gone quiet. I'm not white-knuckling cravings anymore, there's simply nothing there to resist. Day 7, the final stretch, I decide to test myself on purpose. Walking into a gas station surrounded by every trigger I used to grab without thinking. Then a food court thick with fryer smell. Then finally a coffee shop, which turns out to be the hardest of the 3 by a wide margin. I leave every single location with nothing, a little surprised at myself. That night's dinner is simple and good, and I realize the version of me from day 1 would not recognize how calm this all feels now. Final numbers: 189.1 pounds, just over 2 pounds down for the week. Some of it water, some of it real. My skin in the after photo is noticeably smoother, less red, more awake looking, and there's zero makeup involved. Just 7 days of absence doing the work. The second brain scan isn't a total transformation, but the overactivation is visibly, measurably lower than day 1. More than the numbers, though, the real result is quieter. Somewhere around day 4, these things stopped feeling like a sacrifice and started feeling like weight I'd been carrying so long, I forgot it wasn't normal. Maybe the point was never really quitting anything forever. Maybe it was just proving for 1 week that none of it actually had as much power over me as it seemed to.